Boyfriend sabotaged my birth control, left my pills in the trash, while his mom encouraged us to have kids. My boyfriend, 22 male, and I, 22F, have been together for 3 years. We were high school friends, grew apart, ended up going to the same college, similar majors, reconnected, you can guess the rest. We've been on the rocks lately. Our lifestyles just don't align very well, and sometimes he treats me more like a mother than a partner. I am losing patience. He is an only child, and kind of a massive mama's boy. His mom is nice enough, just very traditional. Until recently, I don't feel like I've had a reason to distrust her. He confides in her a lot about our relationship, sometimes an uncomfortable amount. For the past couple of months, I feel like she's been trying to plant seeds in my head about having kids when I'm alone with her. Some examples: the joy of motherhood is like nothing else. You'll understand someday. I know it's hard right now. You know, a baby might bring you closer. My husband and I fought constantly until we finally had BF's name. Once you have a baby, everything else falls away. They're little miracle workers. You know, fatherhood changes people. I think BF's name just needs to experience it. That last one in regards to his irresponsibility and lack of accountability for housework. I'm on the pill. I've been trying to get on a different form of birth control that doesn't require constant effort, like an IUD, injections, arm implant, but I haven't been able to decide which one is right for me. My birth control comes in a blister pack, but I usually pop a week's worth into a pill organizer so I can just take it with my other medications. I don't bother taking the sugar pills you're supposed to take during the week of your period. I keep the empty blister packs with the leftover sugar pills in my nightstand because I'm weird about throwing things away sometimes. What if I need it later mentality I picked up from growing up in a doomsday prepping household. Thanks, Dad. I feel incredibly stupid for that now. A couple of weeks ago, I missed my period. Took a pregnancy test, saw the dreaded second line, and proceeded to freak out. BF was at work when I found out, so I called him immediately. I told him we needed to talk, and that it was urgent. He didn't want to come home at first since we are not in a great situation financially. I started bawling and begging, and I think he realized I was serious. When he got home, I was sitting on the bathroom floor. I was a wreck, cried so hard I vomited. Anyways, BF gets back to our apartment, finds me on the floor, and as soon as he sees the pregnancy test, he fucking smiles. His face lit up, and I saw red. No acknowledgement of the state I was in. The first thing he said to me besides, "What's going on?" was, "Oh my God, baby, this is great." I wanted to put my head through the wall. I tried to explain to him through snot and tears and spit that no, this was not great, we're both full-time students with jobs. I can't take time off. I have a ton of unresolved health issues. We can barely afford the roof over our heads. I hate the idea of getting an abortion. I am all for it when it's someone else, just for me, I don't know if I can bring myself to do it. He left me to cool down in the bathroom for a while. I told him to get out, and I saw one of my fucking blister packs in the bathroom trash can. We don't use it very often, so we only empty it once in a while. I threw away the pregnancy test, it knocked aside a wad of toilet paper, and the silver foil caught my eye. I dug through the trash and I found 7 of my regular fucking birth control pills at the bottom of the trash bag. I can't believe he not only did this to me but also was so incredibly careless. It's like he barely tried to hide it. I can't tell if he wanted me to find out or if he just genuinely doesn't have anything knocking around inside his cranium besides a few rocks. I had been racking my brain trying to figure out how this could have happened. I am so diligent about taking my meds. I feel so fucking stupid. So stupid. The sugar pills are literally a different fucking color. I take like 7 pills in the morning and unceremoniously dump them into my mouth. I definitely didn't look closely at them. He didn't give me a reason to think I had to. He hadn't said anything about kids. I could tell he was kind of trying to be better about his responsibilities lately. I thought things were finally starting to look up when it came to the state of our relationship. We have access to each other's phones. I think he probably checked my Fitbit app to find out when I was ovulating, since I track my period there. I don't know how else he could have known. I think I remember a few times I'd unlock my phone and find the app open, but I thought nothing of it. I confided in a few close friends about all of this. Told them everything. What he did, how I think he did it, how I think his mom might have told him too, how fucking devastated I am and how stupid I feel. In essence, they told me I need to grow a spine, leave him, stop going crazy, and figure my shit out / decide what to do. Now a part of me feel like I might be overreacting. I'm staying with my parents right now, they don't know what's going on. They're kind of religious, and I'm not exactly sure how they feel about abortion. I don't want to bring it up because I don't know how they'll react. BF has been texting me nonstop, telling me to calm down and come home and talk to him. Update 1. So much has happened since I last posted here, as I'm sure you can imagine. Long story short, X's family is a mess. Getting in touch with legal professionals and talking to police has been so overwhelming, but I am lucky enough to be working with some absolute angels. I can't get into the weeds of all that in this post. It doesn't really look great, but it's hard to say what'll happen since everything is so fresh. Courts move at a snail's pace, but if I'm ever in a position to give an update I will. Now for everything else I guess. X confessed to messing with my birth control. I have a close childhood friend who my ex took too early in our relationship. Looking back, ex definitely had a little bit of a thing for her. I think everyone who knows her kinda does, myself included. She is compassionate, amenable, gorgeous, the whole package. Anyone who knows her well knows she is not to be fucked with. Point is, he trusted her a lot. A few hours after I made my post, she and I got together and schemed. We very gently prodded him over text. He barely bent before he broke. We deliberately made the text messages sound super non-judgmental, like she was on his side. She threw me under the bus a little bit and implied she felt closer to him than to me to really sell the act. I can't go into detail about how the conversation went down, legal shit, but I do have the screenshots and I will definitely be posting them if I can once all of this is over and done with, if I remember to, that is. I don't think ex would have ever spilled his guts if she hadn't been in the picture. Friend has been by my side pretty much ever since. I mentioned at the end of my original post that I've been staying with my parents, and they have been gracious enough to help me until I'm back on my feet no matter how long it takes. I quit my dead-end job, I've been meaning to anyway, and I've been doing school online. Friend brought her mini work from home setup and we've both just been sharing a bed in my childhood room most nights. Also we sorta kissed. Only once. It was nice. I had a big fat crush on her for like the entirety of high school. I'd what else to say about that. I won't bore you guys with the details since I know it's not what you're here for lol. I don't want to tell my friends about it yet, so you guys get to hear first. I'm not dying to get into something serious at the moment, but I won't complain if it ends up going somewhere. I think some part of me has known for a while that my last relationship was comfed. Leaving felt like such a monumental task. In some messed up way, this has been a blessing. I was thrust into a situation where the only reasonable option was to drop him like hot shit, which was kinda long overdue. Parents are also way chiller than I thought they'd be. I mentioned in my last post that they're kinda religious, but they chilled out a lot after I moved out. Faith is still a big part of their lives, but they're less into following the book to a T, and more into making the world a better place. My dad got really into virtue ethics and I think it's been good for him. I had a conversation with my mom about everything, and she has been nothing but supportive. We had a girls' day with her, my aunt, my friend, and my sister a couple of days before my appointment. Being surrounded by love made everything easier. Appointment went well, no complications, and everyone made sure I was taken care of while I recovered physically and emotionally. I can't even begin to tell you all how grateful I am. I feel like everything has gone as well as it possibly could have in the wake of an absolute shitstorm. As for ex's family, holy shit, this isn't the first time this happened. Ex's cousin did almost the exact same thing, but his GF, now wife, kept the kid and married the shitbag. I've been talking to her, but I don't want to air out all of her trauma and dirty laundry on the internet. Lots going on for her. If she gives me permission to talk about it here, I might update once the dust settles. I don't have much else to say, except to thank you all so incredibly much for giving me the kick in the ass I needed. I've received so much kindness from this community, both in comments and DMs. There were so many comments I didn't get the chance to read, but everything I saw was so sweet. Update 2. I thought the worst part was over after my appointment, and then this week swan dove off a cliff. Monday night I was at Target with my friend grabbing dish soap and an obscene amount of grapes because pregnancy hormones are over, but apparently the need to stress eat spheres of sugar is forever. My phone throws the unknown air tag is moving with you alert, which I have literally never seen before in my life. I'm standing between shower caddies and seasonal throw pillows listening for a chirp like I'm trying to track a bat. It finally starts clicking from inside the little zip pocket of my tote that I almost never use. I did not put anything in there. Friend went white. I went full static noise in my ears. We drove straight to the station and then back to my parents. I don't know if it was him or his mom, but whoever did it either did it while my bag was hanging on my chair at school or when I went to the apartment to grab more of my clothes. Police logged it as evidence, took photos, took statements. That kicked a lot of things into gear very fast. Temporary protective order was approved the next morning. I cried in the clerk's office, which was not on my bingo card for a random Tuesday, but the woman at the desk had a peppermint and that was the rope I held onto all day. The injunction has his name and his mom's. He was served the same day. She put on Facebook that I'm weaponizing the state to punish a family for their beliefs, which I only know because my aunt printed it out like she was about to lead a workshop on how not to post. The cousin's wife, the one who's living my nightmare on hard mode, finally sat down with me at a diner halfway between our towns. She's tiny and tired and wears this brittle smile that makes you want to wrap her in 10 blankets. She slid a phone across the table with a thread she had with my ex's mom from last year that made me feel sick in a way I didn't realize my body could do. It's not permission to share yet, but I can tell you it wasn't subtle. Sometimes girls need a nudge when they're too focused on school. God doesn't give babies to people by accident. If she's not ready now, she'll be ready when she sees his eyes in the baby. And then a list of tips that made my hands shake so badly I spilled coffee on myself. It wasn't just me. It wasn't even just the cousin's wife. It's a pattern. Hearing it from her mouth in a booth sticky with syrup made it feel like a Hallmark movie directed by Ari Aster. 2 days after the order, X showed up anyway. He parked at the end of my parents' block and walked the long way like that would fool anyone. Dad was pruning tomatoes like it was the most normal thing in the world and stepped straight between us and told him to leave. Ex started crying, which used to be my kryptonite, and now just feels like a tactic. His mom was idling in the passenger seat with a Walmart bag in her lap. Baby socks. She shook it at me like that would conjure amnesia and consent out of thin air. Police came, talked to him, then hauled him off because, surprise, you don't get to violate a protective order because you're holding crochet booties. I threw up in the sink after the cruiser left and my mother rubbed my back and said the kind of soft "oh, honey" that makes your bones reorganize. I had to go back to the apartment with an escort to grab the last of my stuff. It's insane how fast a place can stop smelling like yours. He'd stripped the bed and left our stupid red rug rolled like a body. In the kitchen, there was a grocery bag of the most deranged mixed signals, a pregnancy book from the thrift store with someone else's underlines, a candle that smelled like birthday cake, and my old blister pack cardboard sleeves, empty. Not evidence, just a gut punch. I grabbed my art supplies, my grandmother's mixing bowl, the plant that had one foot in the grave when we moved in and still refuses to die out of pure spite. I could feel the cameras on his neighbors' porches while I hauled my life out in 3 boxes. On the way out my phone lit up with a DM request. It was from a guy I used to see at X's house, one of those peripheral friends who was always holding a beer and a story. He sent me screenshots from a group chat from months ago. Buried under a fantasy league and an argument about who's better at Mario Kart was him making jokes about you're not really a dad until you pull a switcheroo and a message from my ex that said it's not even dangerous, she just flushes the white ones anyway lol. I think I sat down on the stairs outside because my legs forgot how to leg. Detective has those now. I don't know what it changes legally, but emotionally it hit me like a piano dropped from a cartoon second floor. Campus called. Title IX wants a meeting, which I didn't even realize was an avenue here, but apparently reproductive coercion and stalking is squarely in their purview. It was weirdly comforting to sit in an office with posters about consent and hear someone say we take this seriously without blinking. They offered no contact orders through the school, accommodations, everything I didn't know I could ask for. There's also a student group for relationship violence that runs on Thursdays. Friend and I went. I sat in a room with strangers and recognized myself in every single one, even the parts I hate. I don't have anything profound to say about it except that I left lighter. The lawyer I hired for the civil side is a velvet-wrapped chainsaw. She is very honest and very good at making things that scare me sound like things we can actually do. We filed for aid and battery. She wants to depose his mother. Just typing that makes me sweat. We're not rolling in money, she's on contingency. When she explained it, I nodded like my brain was in the room. Later I cried for an hour in the shower because this is my life now. Calendars full of words I used to only hear on Law and Order and a toothbrush in a house I didn't think I'd live in. Again. Friend and I got a place. It's a sublet a few neighborhoods over from campus with the kind of cabinets that have been painted so many times they feel like chalk. The living room has a window that turns the whole place honey in the afternoon. We moved in with exactly 3 forks and a plant and a speaker that only works when you balance a spoon on it. My parents helped us carry in a sagging futon my aunt was getting rid of and then they stood in the doorway like they were dropping me off at college again. Dad kissed my forehead. Mom put a jar of her marinara in the fridge with a post-it that said eat this before it eats you. I slept 12 hours that first night and woke up with the shape of her tucked behind me. About her, we made a rule. Or more like a promise. We're not going to be cute about semantics, but we're also not going to sprint into anything because my nervous system currently lives at DEFCON 2. She kisses me like she's asking me a question and it's the easiest thing in the world to say yes. The other night we were eating cereal on the floor because we don't have a table yet and she said you don't have to narrate your every apology to exist, and then we watched a documentary about capybaras because that is what healing looked like at 11:43 p.m. on a Wednesday. Ex's mom tried to come to my parents' church. They knew she was coming because she told my aunt she was going to talk to the pastor about his lost lamb. My aunt called my mom called the pastor said he would happily talk to her about boundaries and then did not let her step up to the pulpit. She sent me a very long email afterward about forgiveness that used the word murder 3 times and future grandmother twice. My lawyer has it. I did not respond. I don't think there's anything I could say that would reach whatever planet she lives on. There's a small bright twist. The cousin's wife came over last night with her toddler. He is a gremlin angel who calls everyone B. We sat on my mismatched couch and she ping-ponged between laughing and crying while B ate goldfish off my thigh like a tiny woodland creature. She's separating. She found an apartment near her sister. She said my post shook something loose in her spine and she's been quietly tucking money away. She gave me permission to say that much. When she left, she pressed a key into my palm to her storage unit and said, "There's a table in there that's a little ugly and very sturdy and it's yours if you want it." I have never loved an ugly table more. Oh, and because apparently the universe thinks I like my plot with a garnish, friend was digging through our old shared Google Drive to find photos too. Print for my mom's hallway collage and found a document called Surprise Dinner Ideas. It's a list of baby shower menus. It was made 2 months before I found out I was pregnant. The revision history is a clown car. His mom's email edited the title to Blessing Dinner and added a note that says keep her occupied the week of, exact week he swapped my pills, maybe spa day with me? I laughed when she showed me. Not because it's funny. I laughed because I'm out of normal human reactions and have to borrow from a different genre sometimes. Detective has that too. I am okay. That word means something different every day. Some mornings I put on mascara and answer emails and make soup and remember how to breathe like a person who trusts her own body. Some afternoons I spin out because a car idles too long outside or a song comes on that used to play while we cook dinner. Some nights I feel my life expanding like a balloon I'm afraid to let go of because what if it floats off without me? Most nights I'm tired, and being tired feels like its own mercy. We adopted a cat. She's a shelter goblin with exactly 3 teeth and the confidence of a pop star. We named her Foil. She sleeps on my stomach and loves my friend more than me, which feels correct and cosmically funny. When she runs, her back legs overtake her front ones. Watching her is healing in the same mysterious way that folding warm laundry is. I don't know how long the legal slog will take. I don't know what a win will even look like here. I do know I'm not crazy, I'm not alone, and if we're measuring miracles, the fact that my life did not end in that bathroom with a stick and a smile that wasn't mine is going to be the first on the list. I will keep going. I will build a small, weird, good life and let it take up space. And if his mother tries to bring baby socks to my lawn again, I will plant herbs in them. I'm done letting them rot. Update 3. I didn't realize deposition is just code for put a chandelier on the ceiling of a war. There's no judge, just a conference room that smells like printer and old coffee, a court reporter with a tiny piano of a machine, and my lawyer wearing her calm like a knife tucked into silk. X's mom came in with a rosary like a prop, sat down, and smiled the way people smile at funerals when they're about to say something unhinged under a velvet blanket of with all due respect. Her lawyer kept objecting to the form of questions, which sounded like he was lightly sneezing every time my attorney got close to something sharp. I wasn't in the room for all of it, not my first rodeo with legal shit I can't explain without breaking out in hives, but I could hear enough from the hallway to paint a very ugly watercolor. The moment that will live in my bones, my lawyer slid a color printout of the Google Doc revision history across the table. The one with the blessing dinner title change and the note about keeping me occupied the week the pills got switched. X's mom tried to say she'd never seen it. My lawyer pushed her glasses up and went, "Is this your email address?" In a voice that sounded like someone buttering toast slowly over a campfire. There was a beat that felt 10 minutes long. Then, I assist my family with meal planning. I had to go to the bathroom and stick my wrists under cold water because my whole body went hot at once. Friends stood guard by the paper towel dispenser like we were doing a heist. I heard later that when my lawyer asked, "Did you advise your son to interfere with her medication?" she said, "We spoke about God's plan," and then spelled out a plan on accident. Tiny slips. Enough rope. The air tag wasn't just a weird one-off either. Detective called me. I will never get used to having a detective, and said Apple responded to the request. The serial number is linked to a family sharing account managed by his mother. Her husband's card bought it at, of course, a Walmart 20 minutes from their house. I'm assuming this is not what Apple had in mind when they made a key finder, but here we are. Detective's voice did that careful quiet cop thing when he told me. I was sitting on the floor of our new living room eating cereal out of a big mixing bowl because all my normal bowls were in a box behind 3 other boxes. Friend took the spoon out of my hand and let me lean my forehead on her shoulder until the part of my brain that controls gravity came back online. The state added stalking to the violation of the protective order. My lawyer used the phrase pattern of conduct, and for once it felt like the right shape for what this is. We went to court again. Another fluorescent hallway, another round of pretending to make small talk while I count the tiles on the ceiling and try not to pass out. The judge looked like the kind of man who hates giraffe print ties and people who talk over other people. He extended the order for 2 years, added a distance buffer for campus and my new address, and said very clearly to his face, "If you come within 300 feet of her again, you will go to jail. Do you understand?" X opened his mouth to do the soft voice thing, the "I just want us to talk" thing, the thing that used to turn me into a puddle. The judge cut him off mid-syllable without looking up from the papers and said, "You are not speaking. Sit down." I did not know silence could feel like a standing ovation until that moment. His mom hissed something like a kettle boiling over when the clerk read out her name on the order too. I looked at the back of her head and imagined gently planting time in there. It helped. Title IX moved faster than I thought institutions can move without a fire under them. Interim no contact order is in place, plus a ban from the buildings where my classes are. The woman running the meeting had a colorful scarf and the energy of a guidance counselor who could dismantle a tank with a ballpoint pen. She gave me options I didn't know existed, and then gave me the email for a therapist on campus who specializes in, as she put it, when love tries to make a cage. I went. First session I cried so hard into a tissue I think I breathed it in. She told me my nervous system has been sprinting a marathon for months and it doesn't know the race is over. "We have to teach your body what boring feels like," she said. I laughed like a car misfiring. We practiced breathing like we were blowing on soup. It worked for 10 seconds at a time. I'll take it. The cousin's wife really did it. She signed her lease, sent me a photo of the key in her palm, the nail polish chipped and beautiful. He came over again and climbed under our very sturdy and very ugly new table from the storage unit and yelled for it. For 20 minutes while shoving goldfish crackers at Foil through the chair legs. Foil does not like goldfish but enjoyed the challenge. We lugged the table up 2 flights of stairs and I cried a little when it thunked into place. My body is tired in a new way now. The good kind, like I moved a life into a different shape with my hands. We actually did plant the baby socks. Basil and mint, because I like the drama of mint taking over anything you let it. They live by the kitchen window. The basil is thriving, the mint is plotting, and Foil treats both like a buffet if you look away, so now we spritz them with a water bottle, like we're refereeing a tiny botanical boxing match. X tried to get his father to reach out. I almost didn't open the email because the subject line looked like spam, from a father who failed. It was actually complicated. He apologized. He said he never knew the extent, that he thought she was just excited to be a grandmother, that he'd been checking out of a marriage for years. He offered to cover some therapy, which made me sob alone at the kitchen sink for reasons I'm still untangling, and then I sent it to my lawyer with "Do I respond to this?" in the subject line because that's how my brain works now. Lawyer said I don't owe him anything, which is a sentence I read 6 times like it was a poem. I didn't respond. Maybe someday I'll mail him a photo of the socks with mint in them. Maybe that's petty. Maybe it's exactly the scale of ritual I need. X's deposition was worse and better than I imagined. I didn't sit in, because I like my heart inside my rib cage, but my lawyer gave me the bare bones after. He said the word "white ones." He said he thought it would wake something up in me. He said I didn't think she'd be mad. He said I just wanted my family to be proud of me. I am trying not to let my skull split from the rage of how small and selfish that sounds next to the hollowness of what he did. His lawyer objected so many times the court reporter apparently took a break to flex her fingers. There is video. I won't watch it. I believe the person I was in that bathroom. I don't need to watch him pretend to be a better man for a camera. We upgraded our locks. Neighbor across the hall is 70 and used to be a locksmith. He knocked on our door with a belt full of tools and a joke about Prince Charming with a drill and installed a deadbolt that makes the door feel like it's wearing armor. He brought us a bundt cake in a pan so old it's practically an heirloom and gave me a lecture about glass breaks and peepholes that felt like a hug. The building is alive in that weird city way, someone's always boiling onions or singing badly. It's noisy in a way that makes me feel less alone. Friend and I have a ritual now. We do a lap at dusk, 1 block, hand in hand, breathing in whatever the block smells like that day, last night, laundry and rain. We come home and watch something silly. We watched a show about miniature cooking last week and cried laughing while a tiny omelet flopped. Healing looks stupid sometimes. I am constantly grateful for stupid. His mom tried one more stunt. A wicker basket on our doormat wrapped in cellophane like a small hostage. A plush lamb, a copy of some very pointed book, and a framed cross-stitch that said "Before I formed you in the womb I knew you." She doesn't even know my apartment number. She had to wander the halls like a Scooby-Doo villain to find my door. The camera the neighbor downstairs installed for the building caught her. I called non-emergency, filed the report, texted my lawyer, and then we found a homeless outreach group that takes donated baskets and stuffed animals and dropped the whole curse thing off. We kept the frame and put a photo of Foil in it. She looks like an eldritch horror captured mid-meow. Feels correct. Campus-wise, he withdrew. Someone in my lab told me in a tone that meant "Are you okay?" without saying it out loud. Title IX sent me an email with a lot of words like resolution and appeal timeline. I read it in bed, in the kind of quiet that hums. There's an official finding with his name on it. It's not the justice my stomach wants, but it's ink on paper that says I didn't make this up. I printed it and put it in a folder under my bed with my birth certificate and my passport, the holy documents. There were small miracles this week, the kind you feel guilty calling miracles because they're just people being decent, but that's what we build with right now. Professor extended a deadline without making me perform my pain. My mom found a thrift store headboard that doesn't squeak. He came over and said "Be love be," while patting my cheek with a hand sticky from Peaches. Friend made me pancakes in the shape of a cat and all of them looked like maps of imaginary countries and I ate them like I was on a quest. I had a day where I didn't think about them until lunch. It took me a minute to notice and when I did I almost knocked over my coffee. Boring is arriving in little brown packages on my doorstep and every one feels like a holiday. There are also days my body remembers and I can't unremember with logic. A plumber's truck idled outside the window and I sat on the floor for 15 minutes in a cardigan with my teeth clenched until the sound stopped. I still wake up at 3 a.m. and catalog the dark. I still sometimes reach for my old toothbrush like I live somewhere else. But the ratio is shifting. The scale is tipping. The plant on the windowsill is throwing up new leaves like it's in a hurry to meet itself. The last thing I'll say because it feels like a ribbon on the week, we went to my parents on Sunday for dinner. After pasta, my dad went out to the shed and came back with a wooden box I'd never seen before. Inside was a bunch of odd little things he called repair bits, extra screws and hinges and a stained screwdriver with a cracked handle. Every house should have a box like this, he said, like he was bestowing knighthood. Friend and I carried it home like treasure. We hung a cheap shelf with the crooked little level that came in the box and put 3 jars on it, sugar, flour, and the pennies we found under the stove when we moved in. Foil jumped up, knocked a penny off, chased it like it was prey, and then slept for 16 hours like she'd done something heroic. We laughed so hard my chest hurt. I can almost see the outline of the life I'm building now. It's dorky and small and full of things I pick on purpose. I'm learning how to let joy be small and honest. The day we transplanted the basil out of the sock because it finally outgrew it, friend got dirt under her nails and grinned at me with this stupid triumphant face, and I thought, this is what a vow looks like when you're not trying to bribe the universe. It's just two people in a kitchen, in a sunbeam, with a plant and a cat and a window that needs Windex. It's quiet. It's weird. It's mine.